So you've just entered Limgrave and you're looking for the best weapon you can possibly pick up. So I'm going to show you 10 separate weapons that you can go snag right as you get into the game and have them for the majority of your playthrough. These weapons are all going to be phenomenal for you to use and cover a variety of different specs and builds. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. So as I'm showing you these weapons, I do want to put a disclaimer here. I'm not going to show you weapons that are going to destroy quest lines just in case you're brand new to the game, because I think every single quest line is definitely worth doing. I will have honorable mentions at the end for weapons that are farmable and take a long time to get, or weapons that do destroy quest lines, but these first top 10 weapons are going to be weapons you can just run up and snag or get very easily at the beginning of the game. Starting out strong for the first weapon you definitely want to get in Limgrave, you are going to run from the first step all the way down to the Lake Agil south side of Grace. You're then going to make your way further south until you get up to the Everjail, where you're going to fight the boss. After you defeat this boss, he will drop for you this great curved sword, which, in my opinion and many others, is one of the best weapons in the entire game. The Bloodhound's Fang is going to allow you to get an excellent dexterity build going, or if you prefer a little strength and dexterity, this weapon actually scales better with a quality build and will give you a crazy amount of damage. Not to mention, this weapon also has innate bleed, allowing you to proc hemorrhage on your enemies, taking massive chunks of health off at a time. This great curved sword is definitely one of the top 10 weapons in the entire game, and the fact that you can get it so early here at this Everjail is absolutely incredible. The next weapon you want to pick up is in Southern Weeping Peninsula. You're going to head to Castle Morn, located right here on the map, and we are going to be after the Claymore. As soon as you get into Castle Morn, head up the lift and follow the route that I'm showing you here. As soon as you get up and to the right, past the Misbegotten dancing around the fire, you'll then find a small chest right around the corner in a room. Open up that chest and you'll get the Claymore. This greatsword is phenomenal, and the Claymore scales really well with dexterity as well as a quality build having a B in both affinities. I absolutely love the Claymore as it gives you some pierce damage, and many enemies in the game are incredibly weak to pierce damage, and this weapon also is going to let you use any affinity on it as well as many different types of greases, allowing it to be a jack of all trades for everything that you need. For our third weapon, we're going to be staying in Weeping Peninsula and heading to the Morn Tunnel. Now we will have to kill a boss for this weapon, but the boss is just a larger Misbegotten, nothing to worry about at all. The weapon we're going after is the Rusted Anchor. The reason this weapon is so phenomenal is because, like the Claymore, this weapon has pierce damage. Pierce damage is going to be amazing, like I said, because many enemies are weak to this type of damage. You're also going to be able to hit like an absolute truck, and the Rusted Anchor scales incredibly well with strength. This weapon is fantastic for jump attack builds, it's great for crag blade and stance break builds, and if you want to play around the guard counters and get the spear talisman in here on counterattacks, then you can definitely do that as well. This weapon is incredibly versatile and is a lot of fun to use. For weapon number 4, we're going to be heading to the Bridge of Sacrifice. The reason this weapon is on the list is it is a great quality weapon for beginning and mid game, and it's too easy not to get, not to put it on this list. The Morning Star is going to be located in the back of a carriage just south of the Bridge of Sacrifice site of Grace, and you just need to run up and snag it. This weapon is going to have a B scaling in both strength and dexterity when you put a quality affinity on it, and you are going to get innate bleed out of it, allowing for some pretty solid bleed builds and building up hemorrhage really fast. The Hammer class has great stance damage, and a two-handed charged R2 is going to allow you to break bosses' stances very fast. Our next weapon is also going to be found in Weeping Peninsula, starting at the Church of the Pilgrimage. You're going to follow the route that I'm going to show you all the way down to the southwest side of this area. There's going to be a small merchant shack, at which point you can buy the Zweihander. This colossal greatsword is one of the top 5 best greatswords you can get in the entire game, and it is going to have standard and pierce damage. It has a great move set with wild horizontal slashes, as well as a heavy charged R2 that is a piercing poke attack, which can come out very quick depending on how long you charge or don't charge that attack. I absolutely love this strength scaling weapon, and it can make any playthrough of Elden Ring incredibly fun considering the vast versatility of greases, ashes of war, and other ways to make unique builds with this sword. And speaking of colossal greatswords, we are now going to go get the best greatsword in the game. The Guts Greatsword, or just the Greatsword in Elden Ring, is hands down, not even close, the best colossal greatsword you can get in the entire game. You can snag this weapon now and never switch off of it and use it for your entire playthrough, causing a ton of physical damage and putting some Ashes of War on it that will absolutely break the game. This weapon has a lot of different options, especially with every single affinity you can add to it, and you can also use greases and magic imbuements on this weapon. I absolutely love it, and the fact that it's just sitting in the back of a carriage here in Caelid is absolutely bananas. For our next weapon, I need to show some love to the intelligence users because life is hard for you guys at the beginning of the game, so we are going to be heading into Caelid, and I know that sounds rough, but trust me, it's definitely worth it. We're going to be heading into Caelid all the way to the Street of the Sages Ruins because we need to pick up the Meteorite Staff. You are going to start at the Caelid Ruins Site of Grace, which is right next to where you picked up the Greatsword, and make your way down the route that I'm showing you here. Head south into Caelid and then veer into the left once you see the giant Scarlet Rot Lake. You'll then follow the route I'm showing you here up into the ruins, at which point you're going to find the staff just sitting in a chest located right here. The reason you want to get this staff so early is it's the only staff that is going to have an S scaling in intelligence as soon as you pick up the weapon. The only bad thing about this weapon is you cannot upgrade it, but you don't need to upgrade it until you get a new staff down the road, because this one is going to carry you super far. It's also going to boost your gravity sorceries, and if you get rock sling directly in this area as well, then you're going to be set for the first portion of the game. Next up, we're going to be staying in Caelid for the last weapon that we'll snag in this area, and that is going to be the Cross Naginata. This is actually an incredibly easy weapon to get for how insanely good it is, especially to have this weapon in early game. It's going to have a C scaling in dexterity, innate blood loss on it, and its Ash of War is going to be impaling thrust, allowing you to do a ton of stance damage, and with the unique moveset of this weapon, it's just an incredibly fun time to use. You're going to get slash and pierce damage with it, and it's going to be located right here in the Gale Tunnel dungeon, but the route to get it is incredibly easy because you just need to run through the dungeon, don't kill anybody, and it's sitting right there on the ground. Once you snag it, you can then run right back to the site of Grace and teleport out of the dungeon no problem. We'll then head back to Limgrave to the Agale Lake South site of Grace. You're going to start at this Grace and run directly north up the riverbed, and right here at Murkwater Cave, you are going to have an invader spawn in. You need to kill that invader and he will drop for you the Reduvia. This dagger is really good and potentially one of the best daggers in the entire game. Its Blood Blade is going to allow you to shred through almost every single boss you come across. It's going to have a great scaling with a B in Arcane, C in Dexterity, and like I said, it has innate blood loss on the weapon. And for our very last weapon, you want to head to the Death Touch Catacombs in Limgrave and just follow the route that I'm showing you through the dungeon and pick up this weapon laying on the ground. The Uchigatana is what you're going to start with as the samurai class, but if you decide to do a different class, it's always nice to have this weapon in your arsenal. It's going to have slash and pierce damage, blood loss on the weapon, and it's a katana, so it has an absolutely phenomenal moveset with the Unsheath Ash of War. I always enjoy starting with the samurai class and then coming here to get a second katana to get that really great katana moveset. Now the next three weapons I'm going to show you are going to be honorable mentions. Two of these are going to be farmable and they're going to take a very long time to farm, or if you have great RNG, you'll get it on the first kill. The third one is going to be ruining a questline, but it's the best weapon in that class, so let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. Now for this first farmable weapon, we're going to be heading to the Smoldering Church on the border of Limgrave and Caelid. You're going to go farm Guardians for the Guardian Sword Spear. This is an S tier dexterity weapon, and if you get one to drop for you at this location at the beginning of the game, you'll never need another weapon again. The only bad thing about this weapon is it takes a very long time for it to drop, but once you get it, you'll definitely not regret having it. You're then going to head to the Church of the Pilgrimage in Weeping Peninsula for our next honorable mention. You're going to want to head to the backside of the church and look for a skeleton wielding two swords. These swords are going to be the Bandit's Curve Swords, and this is a really phenomenal curve sword. Not only is the moveset incredibly fast, but if you happen to hate yourself enough and get two of them to drop from farming that long, then you are going to jump attack every boss into oblivion. And our very last honorable mention that is going to ruin a questline for us is the Nagakiba. This is the best katana in the entire game, and you just have to kill Yura in order to get him to drop it for you. It's going to have an A scaling in dexterity when it's all the way leveled up. It has blood loss build up on it. It also has slash and pierce damage, and it has the longest range out of any katana. Yura is going to be sitting right here at the beginning of the game, and all you need to do is run up to him and kill him, and he will drop for you his weapon. And guys, that is going to be it for all the top 10 best weapons you can get early game in Elden Ring. Now, if there's any that I missed that you think should have been on this list, definitely leave them down in the comments below. But I've started with all of these weapons, and they've all been absolutely phenomenal. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for being here, and until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.